what this means when we're not digesting and accepting and moving through something in our current time reality, what happens then is we build up this stagnant energy in that area of the body. And so we're holding on to toxic feelings, memories, thoughts, or ways of being when we do this. Welcome to the Monday Movement series. We're going to be exploring the abdomen today. We're going to be doing this through 3 main poses that I'm going to take you through. But while we're in those movements or those poses, we're going to be exploring the body from a psychosomatic and energetic lens, like through that lens. And so when it comes to exploring the body in general, especially if you're following my series or if you have been for a while, I will always like to start off by saying, be gentle with your body. So as we go through these movements throughout the video, just have a real respect and reverence and love and care for your body as we move through this. And also use this video as your practice run. So join in with me and do the movements, but treat it as your practice run. And then later down the track, once you're familiar with the movements, once you've heard everything we're connecting psychosomatics and energetics to these movements, to this area of the abdomen, then you can invite the body to try this again at a later time where you actually have more space and there's no time constraints. Like this video is going to be the time constraint for you. It'll run for about 10 minutes, maybe more or less. And so we don't want that time constraint when we're somatically exploring, when we're doing it for ourselves. Just be gentle, treat this as a practice run, take off the pressure, and then try this out for yourself at a later date when you have more time and space and no constraints and no distractions, and see how you go. So to get started, we're going to begin by dropping in. So I invite you to close down your eyes wherever you are, find a comfortable position in the space you are in. And you might like to place both hands on your abdomen, perhaps right hand on lower, left hand on upper, or vice versa, perhaps one hand over the other, whatever feels right for you, but just find yourself in your space, comfortable, eyes softly closed if they want to, and hands on the abdomen, however they may like to be. And we're just going to use our hands as the stimulus to drop into the body. Feel the warmth underneath your hands as they connect to your abdomen. Or if your hands aren't on your abdomen because you didn't feel like it, you can start to bring your awareness to your abdomen. Notice what's there underneath the warmth of your hands or as you bring your awareness to your abdomen. And if you don't notice anything at all or you're having trouble noticing, that's okay. Just meet your abdomen, meet your body where it is in this given moment. And start to notice the movement of your belly. Perhaps you can sense that movement as you breathe in and out. Perhaps it's more subtle and you can sense some gurgles or some movements in the tummy. But just bring your awareness to the subtle movements within the abdomen. And now that we have taken a moment to drop into the space, we are now going to slowly move into a reclined position. Just take your time getting there. And you'll want to invite your knees to your chest. If this is something you can't do because you have a bulging disc, any joint issues in the lower back, or the hips, or even mid-back, whatever the restrictions may be, lay down like this and place your hands on your abdomen as you were before. You may even like to pop a bolster under your legs and lay there. But for those of us who can bring our knees to our chest, just gently bringing one leg up and the other, securing your knees with your hands, bringing them into your chest like a warm hug, a nice hug, and maybe rocking from side to side, adding some movement there. Now, when it comes to the abdomen, this is where our solar plexus and our sacral chakras reside in the body, our energy centers. And so themes around our inner strength, our inner knowingness, themes around the ways in which we nurture ourselves with kind words, feeling good feelings, all of our internal perception of ourself and the way we nurture ourself, that way of being, will reside in the abdomen here. So just noticing any themes that might pop up around self-worth, self-assuredness, confidence, strength, themes around how you nurture yourself, the words you speak to yourself or think to yourself, and just witnessing that in this moment as you have your knees to your chest. You should feel a gentle compression into the abdomen as you bring your knees to your chest here, like a warm hug into the belly. And as we rock from side to side, if you are, or circling, you should feel a nice massage into the belly as well. And now we're going to invite a deeper stretch if we feel ready for it. We're going to reach for our ankles, through the legs to our ankles, or even to our feet if we have that range. And we're going to come to happy baby. Now you might be here and this is all you can do. Depending on your hamstring and hip range, you may be able to come fully into happy baby here. And if not, that's fine. Just meet yourself where you're at, even if it's with your legs down here, close to the buttocks. Just find what is comfortable if you want to explore happy baby here. And we're just going to sit here for a little while I chat to you more about the abdomen, the psychosomatics. So we were talking about the energetics and the chakras that reside in our abdomen. When it comes to the psychosomatics behind this area, the abdomen, there's a lot going on in there too. There's our intestines, our stomach, our liver, our kidneys. You know, there's a lot of organs in there, our pancreas, our gallbladder to consider. And so when we have all of these organs to consider and this area of the abdomen to consider, we will have things that resemble, I'm just going to hop up as well while you guys are sitting in happy baby. We will have themes that resemble difficulty in digesting your current life or your current real-time reality. So something in your current life right in this moment when we're having abdomen issues present, there's something you're struggling to accept or digest. And what this means when we're not digesting and accepting and moving through something in our current time reality, what happens then is we build up this stagnant energy in that area of the body. And so we're holding on to toxic feelings, memories, thoughts, or ways of being when we do this. And all of this holding, all of this difficulty in digesting our current life, where we are in this present moment, all of this holding is usually based off past hurt or trauma, some kind of protective mechanism, like a bracing of the stomach, a bracing of the abdomen. And so with these feelings and memories and information, the stuff that we're holding onto that's creating this toxicity and this stagnation in the abdomen when we're not wanting to digest something in life, these toxic feelings and thoughts tend to resemble, like when it comes to feelings, for example, the toxic feelings that tend to be residing in this area are anger, fear, and confusion. They're the most common feelings here. And I feel like the reason for that is because when we are having trouble digesting something in our life, there comes with it this past hurt, so a fear, a confusion of not knowing why it's there, because it's often an unconscious protective mechanism, a reactivity. And so there's often confusion. And then this anger or frustration because we have this stagnant toxic energy building up. The common toxic thoughts or beliefs are centered around believing we are weak, not enough, or insecure. Or conversely, it can actually be that we have an overinflated sense of self, a super ego, and a superiority and arrogance. If you're in happy baby, we're going to slowly come back to knees to chest, and then we're going to invite a supine twist. So this is where we keep our knees locked together and we start to invite them to rock over to one side, like such, but our torso remains straight. Sorry, just had to move the mic. So we're in a supine twist, our torso is straight, our knees are over to the side, and we're just going to place a little bit of a light weight onto our knee if we feel like creating a little bit more of a deeper stretch here. If it doesn't feel right, again, just come back to laying face up with your hands on your belly as we start to talk and query through things. But for the time being, but for those of us who are comfortable in our supine twist, we're just going to remain here while I chat to you. And then you can also flip over to the other side when it feels right as I'm chatting. But yes, basically when it comes to the abdomen, we're exploring these themes of our self-image and how we perceive ourselves. Do we feel like we have a real confidence in who we are and the decisions we make? You know, do we have trouble making decisions in life? And is it because we're not sure of what we want? Do we feel like we are unable to pursue a goal or do anything worth value because we doubt ourselves? Is there an element of self-doubt? Do we feel like we will never be enough for the world, for certain people in our lives? Like whatever we do, it's never enough. Do we feel like or notice these thoughts going on in our head like you're not anything special, you're not beautiful, you're not, you know, who are you to say this or be this? Or perhaps it's the opposite, where we have that overinflated ego where we're actually masking our insecurities and reacting to certain situations with past hurts by having a super ego and overinflated ego, appearing to be far more confident than what you're actually feeling on the inside. And in a way, we're just going to switch over to the other side, neglecting that feeling, the feeling of being scared, the feeling of being fearful, the feeling of, you know, wanting to run. We're neglecting that and overstepping it by bringing out this overconfidence, this inflated ego, and also with the arrogance that can come with that, because we've made a decision and this is our opinion and this is the only way and I'm the right person. Like, do we notice themes like that coming up? And when someone tries to prove us wrong, and even if deep down we know that we're not quite right, but we're going to stick with it anyway, we're stubborn, you know, themes like that can come up. And often what happens when that is going on is that we're sticking to our guns, even though we know it's not quite right. And it's out of the fear that if we appear to be weak or we appear to be wrong, then we're not enough. So it kind of goes back in that cycle of not being self-assured, not knowing yourself enough. When we start to react with aggression and arrogance and anger, and you know, when it comes to the stomach and the liver, this is where a lot of our anger and issues can come from, and bitterness. You know, when we start to react, we can track that and kind of go, okay, what am I not digesting in my current time reality? What am I not wanting to accept? And is it that I'm not wanting to accept where I'm at right now because I just want to do my best and be my best? And if I don't, it's not enough. And so these are all the themes we can explore when we're in these movements, in these kind of deep stretches and deep holdings of the abdomen, is like, come back to that tenderness for yourself. Come back to, you know, exploring yourself, because when we have difficulty digesting life, it's that we're having difficulty digesting an aspect of ourselves, something we're not wanting to see in our life or to confront. When we can always come back to this practice, and we can always come back to curiosity and gentleness. And so when you're ready, slowly coming out of the position that you were in, whether it was a twist, knees to chest, happy baby, or even straight down with your hands on your tummy, just slowly coming out of that by bringing your feet to the mat or the ground beneath you with the knees bent, bringing your knees to your chest, and maybe you want to swing up to come up, or maybe you want to roll to one side and slowly come up this way. Either way, I'll meet you back in a upright position, and I hope you enjoyed this. Remember, you can always come back to this practice as a refresher, or just try this in your own time with no time constraints, no distractions, and see how you go. If you experience something really cool and you feel called to share, also feel free to share that in the comments below, because I love seeing how this affects people. When I put my work out, I love to see that it's actually helping the lives of people who are viewing this. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this practice, and I'll see you next time.